everybody. I'm from up in Dry Ridge, Kentucky, in case y'all didn't know it. I was 8 years old before I knew my name wasn't Get Wood. But I live not in Dry Ridge, I live way out in the country. And we have to go toward town to hunt. Now, Dry Ridge ain't all that big. You probably wouldn't know where it was at. You wouldn't have any reason to go there. But it's on the map. If you were to look for it, you can find it, but it gets lost in the crack. It is pretty small. Dry Ridge is. I had a friend of mine back home. I was talking to him the other day while I found out, and I said, the fellow was telling me, he said, "Did you know that old Billy Ray's getting married?" And I said, "No, I didn't know it." He said, "He's marrying Sue Ellen." I said, "You got to be kidding me." Somebody better talk to him. So I was in town. I went over to see Billy Ray, and I said, "Billy Ray, for crying out loud, man, you can't marry Sue Ellen." I said, "She's been with putting near every man in Dry Ridge." And he says, "Well, Dry Ridge ain't all that big." I got another friend up there. He said he was a Democrat. And so he was doing pretty good, he said, since whatchamacallit got in office. And he said that he's prospering very well, said they worked hard all his life, and he finally got carpet in his bathroom. Said if things kept going as good as they have been, he said next year he's going to run it all the way up to the house. Up there, Dr. Martin, he's a veterinarian. He's really a nice feller. He's so conscientious, Dr. Martin is. He went to that Northwest School of Taxidermy. He's got him a certificate now. And if you go in his office, I was in there a few weeks ago, and right over the counter, he's got a sign that's hanging up there. It says, "Either way, you get your dog back." My grandfather's a pretty good vet, though. He is. We was all over at Robertson's grocery store not too long ago, and a fella come in, and he said, "Elwood," said, "something wrong with my mule. Says one day he limps, the next day he don't. What do you reckon I ought to do with him?" And Grandpa says, "Next day he don't limp, sell him." You know, I was on the police force up there for a long time, and I got a call one night. Go way out in the country, the police call said that there was a man called in and said his wife, thought his wife was dead, so I headed on out there, you know. It was way up on these hollers, and I finally got out there, and it was one of them Jim Walter homes. And I walked up on the front porch, knocked on the door, and the back door rattled. And I looked in through the window, and there was this fellow sitting there. He got up and he come over toward the door, and he's carrying a pair of socks with him. He dropped one of them, and it broke. He said, "Come on in. How you doing?" I said, "Well, pretty good." He said, "You want something to eat?" Says, "Go ahead and get something if you can stand it." I said, "No, I didn't want anything to eat. I got a call out here." I said, "Somebody called and said your wife wasn't feeling good." He said, "She's been in bed all day." Says, I don't think she's breathing at all. So I went in there in the bedroom and found her. She was laying in bed. I couldn't find no pulse or nothing. So I figured too, I called the coroner and the ambulance, and they come out and we loaded her up on a stretcher and was carrying her out of the house, go across the front porch, you go down the steps. Well, it had gotten dark. And there's a tree in the yard, and I didn't see it, and I was up on the front left-hand side of that stretcher, had a hold of the handle in my hand, and I hit that tree and lost the hold on the handle, and she fell down on the ground, rolled right off in that stretcher with a thump, and gave out a groan, you know. Well, I'd be darned if they didn't get her back to life. About 10 years later, I got another call to the same place. Went right back out to that house again, same feller, same thing. Called the coroner, he come out, we loaded her up on the stretcher, we was going out across that yard, and the old man said, hey, you watch out for that damn tree this time. But now I left that job over here. I work now for this Delta Queen company, and I tell you what, it's really nice. I made some good friends over here. I got one old boy here I met here a while back. You may have seen him playing up here. He plays one of them horns. He's what they call a trumpet player, you know. He's a good old boy, Larry is. I tell you what, we went fishing a few weeks ago, and we stopped by a bait store to get some bait, and we walked in. Larry says, how much is your bait? And the bait man said, well, I can let you have all you want for $1. Larry says, well, give me $2 worth. But you know, he is a very gifted person, and he's got a background. He's been in the Navy, you know, and he's got a secret. I don't know if I ought to tell you or not, but he told me a few days back that he's always had this desire. He wanted to become an astronaut. And he said he went to MIT, and he's got a background in it. Said he wanted to be the first astronaut to go to the sun. I said, Larry, you'll burn up before you get halfway there. And he said, I'm going at night. But anyway, since I come over here, I get to travel a whole lot. I get to go to places like I never got to go before. I mean, it's really nice to go stay in them big nice hotels. I stayed in a fancy hotel not too long ago. I mean, it was plush, you know. Really a nice place. About 3 o'clock that morning, somebody banged on the door and said, you got a woman in there with you? I said, no, sir. So he opened up the door and threw one in. But I stayed in one of them little small hotels not too long ago because I had to pay for that myself. About 1995, I got the presidential suite that night. Had peanut shells and jelly beans. Brussels sprouts all over. Had a marijuana cigarette in the ashtray. Of course, it wasn't smoked. It was so small, the shower, you think your showers are small, you've never seen this shower. You got in there, you couldn't change your mind. Now listen, have any of y'all ever backed out of a hot shower right into a cold doorknob? With the key in it? lady, whatever you do, don't turn that door knob. But I get to meet a lot of nice folks here, like you folks. I met a fellow the other day. I was talking to him here over by the Golden Antlers bar. I asked him if he invested in the stock market, and he said, at my age, I don't even buy green bananas. This last cruise we just finished with, there was a really nice lady on. She was 87 years old, just a beautiful lady. And she was walking down there one day, and I stopped her. I said, what are you doing, ma'am, with that suppository in your ear? And she says, oh my God, that's where my hearing aid is. It's old bluegrass song we hear in Kentucky. A good friend named Charlie Ray. He wrote this song a long time ago, but it's got a message in it. And listen to the words, because there's a lot of truth to it, I think. And well, it goes like this. Always marry an ugly girl. That's the only kind. She'll never ever leave you, but if she does, you won't mind. One day an ugly girl was born. Papa took it on the chin. He looked her in the face and turned her around and said, my goodness, we got twins. So always marry an ugly girl. That's the only kind. She'll never ever leave you, but if she does, you won't mind. My brother married an ugly girl. The family got uptight. They gave him a formal wedding. They painted the shotgun white. So always marry an ugly girl. That's the only kind. She'll never ever leave you, but if she does, you won't mind. My cousin married an ugly girl. They really had it made. Every night when she undressed, the neighbors pulled the shade. Oh, always marry an ugly girl. That's the only kind. She'll never ever leave you, but if she does, you won't mind. My cousin married an ugly girl. She drank from a special cup. She had a great big upper lip, but her lower one covered it up. So always marry an ugly girl. That's the only kind. She'll never ever leave you, but if she does, you won't mind. When you make love to an ugly girl, she'll never let you quit. She's afraid that it's the last she's ever gonna get. So always marry an ugly girl. That's the only kind. She'll never ever leave you, but if she does, you won't mind. Up in Kentucky, what we would do like on Saturday nights in the evening, particularly in the summertime, we'd sit around on the front porch and just listen to the Philco radio sitting in the window, try to get in WSM out of Nashville, Tennessee. If we couldn't get that, we'd get WCKY, Cincinnati, Ohio, and sit back there and listen to them old country songs. I remember one time we were sitting there on the front porch, and some fella stopped and come up into the yard. And my daddy was out there, and he said, is your dog biting? Daddy said, no. He walked on up in the yard, and the dog jumped up and just bit the daylights out of him. He said, I thought you said your dog didn't bite. Daddy said, it ain't my dog. I try so hard, my dear, to show and you're my everything. But you're afraid each thing I do is just some evil scheme. A memory from your lonesome past keeps us so far apart. Why can't I free your doubtful mind and melt your cold, cold heart? Another love before my time made your heart sad and blue. And so my life paid now for something I didn't do. In anger, unkind words are said that made the teardrops start. Why can't I free your doubtful mind and melt your cold, cold heart? You'll never know how much to see you sad and cry. You know you need and want my love, yet you're afraid to try. Why do you run and hide from life to try? It just ain't smart. Why can't I free your doubtful mind and melt your cold, cold heart? There was a time when I believed that you belonged to me. But now I know you're shackled to a memory. The more I think of you, the more we drift apart. Why can't